the infamous Ultimate One. And today, we definitely got to talk about this. You know what I'm saying? We definitely got to talk about this. And it was about the complaints and the crying about the AEW Grand Slam wrestling ring that was in Australia. Now, this all started because someone by the name of AEW is Dead Twitter account decided to go online and talk on Twitter and say that AEW couldn't afford to bring in the ring and they had to borrow it from another company. That it was an 18 by 18 ring, it was small, and that WWE uses a 20 by 20 and whatnot, and that it was too small. That and it amazes me how a lot of these wrestling fans today, instead of focusing of the product that was in that night, this past Saturday, and the product and the matches that were involved, they were too busy trying to find some criticism on AEW. They instead went and tried to complain about a wrestling ring. I want you to think about that. A wrestling ring. These people were complaining about a wrestling ring. And as Owen 365, who has this podcast, explained that TNA, Ring of Honor, all these promotions actually use the 18 by 18 wrestling ring. And, and a lot of people were like complaining about this such ring. And Ring of Honor has been using the 18 by 18 for years. I know that for a fact because I saw Ring of Honor live plenty of times at the Hammerstein Ballroom, and I know that their wrestling ring was small. Same thing with TNA. TNA back in the days had the 6-sided ring, and then they turned it into a smaller ring. So for people just to complain about a wrestling ring, it's kind of dumb. Instead of concentrating on the show that was very good. I mean, it was AEW Grand Slam Australia was a pretty good show, especially the Kenny Omega, Bull Ospreay against Takeshita, and Kyle Fletcher. There was a good match which sets up storylines, because a lot of people always complain about storylines in this, and pretty much it was a good show. But then for me to see all this stuff going on on Twitter talking about a wrestling ring, that tells you where these wrestling fans are today. And it looks like they're gonna look for any excuse to attack AEW. You complaining about a wrestling ring? A wrestling ring. Okay? And it's funny that it would have been different if, let's say, the performers had a problem performing in this small ring, the 18 by 18. I saw the whole event, and none of these wrestlers had any problem doing anything in this 18 by 18 wrestling ring, especially the Kenny Omegas, the Will Ospreay, especially Will Ospreay, because they use these wrestling rings to the advantage. They're high flyers. Okay, even though Omega has slowed down a little bit, but they were high flyers. There was 10,000 people in the arena, and for people just to complain about wrestling rings tells you what this wrestling community is, especially Twitter. Twitter has become so toxic that's not even funny. It has become so toxic where you stop believing all this stuff from people, and especially from accounts that are bots or people that just can't stand AEW because they still around. And these were the same people who said that AEW was never going to be around and whatnot, that they were going to be dead by last year. They still around. So they're looking for any excuses and whatnot to, to just trash AEW. It's mind blowing. It's very mind blowing when you see stuff like this, when you have people complaining about the ring, not the product, the ring. And the matches were good. All the matches were good. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't a match in there that you could say that it was garbage, or that the match affected a wrestler in the ring. And it didn't happen. It did not happen. So for people to go and actually complain about a wrestling ring, it's just ridiculous and whatnot. What's funny is there was a podcaster who I always trashing him because he's the biggest big mouth. Lately, he's just been, I mean, bashing AEW ever since CM Punk came into WWE. He's a D writer, and I'm gonna call him out for what he is. Actually said on Twitter that AEW should thank the promotion they gave lend them the ring. We even had people questioning QT Marshall about like, oh, why they didn't order the ring on time and whatnot. And QT Marshall had to check this person and say, hey, how do you know what's going on behind the scene? And that's the problem with a lot of these bots and a lot of these people that are in Twitter and Facebook and every other social media. They think they know what goes on behind the scenes. Most of us, not even me, know what goes behind the scenes. I've seen some independent shows where I gone and I seen stuff behind the scenes and all that. I seen it, but you don't know what goes on in AEW. You don't know what goes on behind the locker room of AEW. It's the same people that go and just stalk these wrestlers and whatnot. They want to know everything about their life. They want to know everything. So the wrestling community has become so toxic that you're complaining over a wrestling ring. I want you to think about that. Your wrestling ring. You wasn't complaining about if somebody botched in the match, or the matches were whack, or the matches were horrible, and somebody did a move they weren't supposed to. You're talking about a wrestling ring. The same wrestling ring that Ring of Honor has used in the past, and TNA. See, it's funny because a lot of these wrestling fans like to point fingers at certain things. And when WWE does it, oh, that's not a problem. You know what I'm saying? Or when TNA does it, oh, it's not a problem. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, it's the hate. It's the hate for AEW so bad it's not even funny. It's not even funny. I mean, you gotta really ask yourself, I mean, are we getting to that point where now, these wrestlers or these promotions can't do nothing because they scare the fans of how they're gonna react? And at this point, to me, as a podcaster who's been doing this for 6 years, at this point, I don't care what the fan says. What they say about the product don't mean anything anymore. Because I'm going to go sit down and watch what I want to watch. And I definitely ain't going to be complaining about no damn wrestling ring, that's for sure. But I will complain about, all these wrestlers or all these, Hollywood stars that want to come out of nowhere like Jelly Roll and who else? Pat McAfee, all these guys who want to go into a ring and wrestle. And Ice Speed, all these guys. And nobody was complaining about that, right? They thought that shit was cool. But y'all they didn't complain about that, but y'all complaining about wrestling ring? Goes to show you where this, this wrestling community is at. And to me, honestly, I will give AEW Grand Slam Australia as 8. Okay? And you may not agree. You don't have to agree. The bottom line is, it was an 8. It was a good match. The Toni Storm and Mariah May was a good ending, and that's probably not even going to end. Now, the question is, who's going to dethrone her? I got my eye on somebody named Megan Bain. She might be the one who might dethrone her for the fact that the woman is for stardom. You know what I'm saying? Wrestling stardom. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to sit here and be AEW mark, like you got guys call it. Listen, AEW has its fault. AEW has a lot of things that they need to work on. But when they do put a good product, you'll still complain. You guys are never going to be happy about any of this stuff at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, you always got something to complain about. That shit is dumb. At the end of the day, enjoy the product. Are you complaining about the damn wrestling ring, which is retarded in my eyes? It's dumb. I mean, I don't understand it. At this point, I don't know what's gonna go on right now as far as this community, because this is getting ridiculous right now. You know what I'm saying? But I just wanted to come in here and really talk about this, because this is like, I wasn't even going to make a big 15, 20 minute, 30 minute podcast about that, because I wasn't. I just wanted to come in here and talk about it. Let me know what you think. Leave me your comments. Let me know what you guys think about this whole situation and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Do you think that doesn't really matter? I mean, last night, even when there was on Twitter, people were asking, oh, what's the size of the WWE wrestling ring? Who cares? Really, who cares? This is the topic now. Well, we got to find out how big is the wrestling, because they complain about the TV ratings, which doesn't really matter anymore because Raw is a Netflix. You still want to get the numbers on Netflix. They're just ridiculous and whatnot. And I think they even oversaturating with the numbers on that. Uh, if it's not that, it's the how many people in the arena and whatnot. If it's not that, now is how big is the wrestling ring? Come on, guys. It's getting ridiculous. It's really getting ridiculous. So that is it for me right now. The guys who follow me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and whatnot, follow me there. Also on TikTok. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, of course. I'm trying to get to 500 subscriber. That is the goal, 500 subscribers. So support the podcast. Also, you can check out the podcast store at tcwr.veryimpressive.com. That's tcwr.veryimpressive.com. And check all the shirts, hats, and hoodies and whatnot. You can see the shirt that I got on right now. That's one of the shirts in the website, so you can get that for yourself. But let me know what you think about this whole wrestling community getting upset over a wrestling ring. Do you think it's making sense? Or, a lot of these people, like I said, a lot of these people just either live in their mom basement, ain't got nothing better to do. So, but let me know what you think. And again, this week, most likely, I'm probably gonna have a special guest on the wrestling podcast, and then that's gonna be on Thursday, and then I'm gonna have my weekly podcast that I do. Most likely, I'll probably do it Saturday after 5 o'clock Eastern time, and with whatever the latest news in the wrestling world. Till then, guys, I'll see you guys very soon, and God bless.